Part 2. And here we go. Done. I figured it out. Now I'm leaving. Have fun with your little girlfriend, said Tuck, walking out. Brad got angry and forced Tuck to go along with him. No way, you broke down the door. Now you're coming with me. When they entered Jenny's room, they saw Sheldon dead with a knife stabbing him in the chest. Brad didn't understand any of what was happening. Then when he saw Jenny's diary open, so he decided to read it to understand better. He read everything Jenny had written at that time. That's when he remembered that time when Jenny was being bullied and going into a state of depression. He mourned Jenny's death and began to cry too. Tuck saw it all and cried too. But Tuck went into a crying fit and couldn't stop crying. And then Brad snapped over the loss of his two best friends. He snatched a knife from Sheldon's chest, and in a quick pace, he slashed his own throat, causing an amount of blood to spill out of the wound. Tuck just stood on the floor, watching his older brother kill himself. His eye was wide and tear-stained as he was traumatized as an 8-year-old can be. He continues to cry over the deaths of his teenage friends. Then the time cut to 1 hour later. The scene shows Nora walking to the house after she noticed that the door was broken. She hears crying coming from Jenny's room. "Who's there? Nobody is supposed to be in here," Nora called out. This kept getting louder. Nora had the expression that read she'd know that who that voice belongs to. Yeah, that's definitely a grammar error in this story. She went to Jenny's room and saw the horror. After Nora saw this, she regretted keeping Jenny in her room. Tuck turned around to see Nora. He rushed towards her and hugged her as he kept crying in her orange lab coat. Then the time cuts once again to 3 hours later. The police arrived at Jenny's house to take her to prison after the school massacre. Nora said, "Guards, you don't have to take her anymore. She's gone. And it seems that her friends love her so much to the point of living with her. She's gone just like everyone who loves her, even if they don't." The camera later shows Jenny, Sheldon, and Brad dead in her room. The scene lasted 10 seconds, and then the episode ends. I was traumatized by the episode and tried to remove the tape from the device, but without success. As for the credits, it played normally except with some few changes. The end credits music was low-pitched, and when it got to the characters' voice talents, the background turns in black and white with the words above saying, Jennifer, I miss you." After that, the blue and green color comes back along with the low-pitched music. The Frederator Incorporated logo started out normal, but when the logo's voice yelled Frederator, the logo started to turn red and the background is black with blood smeared down as the soundtrack of the logo played in backwards. Then there was what sounded like a loud siren played as the message says, "I miss you," written on the logo while the logo is upside down. The Nickelodeon logo was shaped like Jenny after she committed suicide, with a knife to the head and bleeding. And the Nickelodeon name was replaced with Nodolexin. Nickelodeon spelled backwards. Nodolekcin, as distorted piano played. Or probably the emotional guitar playing that was found on the video, The Making of Candle Cove. After the credits, the Paramount logo was read, as whispers can be heard during the scene. It lasted only 14 seconds until it changes into a 12-second mark. The background was black, but the stars were gone, and the mountain, there was a ghostly white face with an unnerving soundtrack playing. But it didn't end there. There was an extra scene. It started with a picture of Jenny, with kids laughing in the background. The laughing sounded like the laughter from the Nickelodeon light bulb logo. It looped over and over, which makes me feel even more unnerving. And it had messages like, "Please stop that sound." This brings me back bad memories. It hurts. After this part, there's a picture of a girl I didn't even know, along with messages. Jennifer, why did you do that? I'm sorry. Please come back. And in the last seconds, the photo began to distort and with crying in the background. And the last message written, I miss you. The tape finally ran out. I was crying in fear and even threw the tape out of the window. After a few minutes, I calmed myself down. I decided to look up some information about the tape on the internet. I tried to Google it, but found little information about the episode. I saw on a forum called Nickelodeon Confidential Files. That episode was based on the last days of Jennifer Renzetti's life. The girl was the deceased daughter of Rob Renzetti, the creator of My Life as a Teenage Robot, in which he went through that same situation as Jenny. In the episode, he missed Jennifer. Another piece of information I could find about the episode was that Andrew Skinner, creator of the lost episode of the SpongeBob Lost episode, Squidward Suicide, had worked on that episode. Now I find out who this Andrew Skinner guy was. In an interview, Skinner said he was sorry for the loss of Rob's daughter, causing him not to want to work on the episode. So Rob Renzetti wrote the first half of the script, and Andrew Skinner wrote the other half, as well as the storyboard and the animation. This information is the heaviest of all. During his work at Nickelodeon Studios, Rob Renzetti had accidentally missed the episode at his office. Co-workers were also watching the episode. Rob had been called by a Nickelodeon CEO to a private meeting, and when he came back, his colleagues had committed suicide, just like in the episode. That moment had been recorded in the newspapers. So that's all I had to say about the episode Jenny's Depression. If you have more information about this episode, please contact me via Gmail, brianxj9fan@gmail.com. Well, that's all. See you later. Anyway, this episode was, well, it was okay, not too bad, but a little depressing and horrifying at some point. But there is a moral, but there is a moral to this. There's a moral to this, everybody. If you ever get bullied in school, do not go on a killing spree or otherwise do not go on a killing spree or otherwise you could go to jail for that. That's the moral right there. The only reason, and also, whenever you do get bullied, you gotta stand up to a bully. Talk assertiveness like Fluttershy. Stand up to them and go on with your life. That's my moral right there. Anyway, that was my lost episode reading of Jenny's Depression. I hope you enjoyed my reading. If you guys like me to read more creepypasta stories or lost episode or video game creepypastas like this one, comment your thoughts down below and click a thumbs up if you like this video. Notify me and don't forget to subscribe. Ponylover1989 signing off.